Okay, what's up guys? Welcome back to another JP-Farmco video. Today we will be showing you how to start tomato seeds.
Right on. Alright, what do we have here? Let's go over the gear first. What are these?
So we have a seed starter 72 cell mini greenhouse.
So these guys I found at Walmart a couple seasons ago at the end of the gardening season. They had them on sale for $1 a piece. I think they're usually four bucks a piece. But just keep an eye out at Walmart. They close out their garden stuff at the end of garden season. You can find some good deals. So we got two of those, 72 cells a piece. So we're going to be planting 144 cells worth of tomato plants. And then, Keldon, what are these?
I honestly don't know. Are these like heating pads or something like that?
It's basically a heating pad, but they're made for starting seeds. They go underneath these to help keep the soil warm, and it helps with germination. Okay, then we have our seed starting mix. That's just a kind of a light, fluffy soil mix, good for starting seeds. Paper cup. I like to use a paper cup for putting the starting mix into the cells. Grab a cupful and then you can kind of pinch it. It makes it easier to fill the cells. I'll show you that in a minute. Got a spray bottle here to spray the seeds once we get everything planted. Keep everything wet. And then we have our seeds. Keldon, tell us what kind of seeds we're starting today.
We will be starting tomato seeds. I guess what kind of tomatoes we will be making will be the Super Beefsteak and Roma VF.
Did the Romas a couple years ago, had a pretty good turnout from them. And they made a really good sauce. We put it in cookie sheets with some other seasonings. Mixed it up real good. Cut the tomatoes up, ground them up pretty good. Put them in the cookie sheet and put them in the oven on low for several hours to cook off some of that water, and it thickened up and made a pretty good sauce. Beef steaks, I don't know, might make salsa or just can some tomatoes. We'll see. Okay, let's get going.
All right.
You're on camera. All right, first thing, open this puppy up.
Yay.
Okay, comes with the cells. Some of them are attached like that. And then you got your lid.
Lid?
Don't lose that. And then this is your bottom part. Okay. Step one. Actually, I guess it'd be step two because step one was opening it. So step two is take the lid out, put the cells in the bottom. All right. Then you take your paper cup. Get a nice cup full of mix. Can you see that? It's pretty light stuff. Really kind of light and fluffy in there. Good for starting seeds. Okay, now you just kind of pinch it. As you go through, you only want to fill them about halfway full right now. Keldon, why do you only want to fill them halfway full?
Because once you get the seed in, you're also going to put more on top, and it will absorb the water and get bigger.
Yeah,
I believe.
We'll top them off once we get the seeds in.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and make a video, because a video would be 10 minutes long of me filling these cells up with soil. So we'll just do a handful here. Let's see if you give the cup a little pinch-a-rooski. Makes it easier to make less mess, I guess you could say. It's going to be messy a little bit, so wherever you do this, you want to make sure that you're okay to make a mess, because this will get a little messy. Okay, so we filled 6, 12, 18, 24. We'll start with 24. We only want them about halfway full. About. It's not an exact science. Okay? You see how full those are? About halfway. Okay, so I've had people ask me, like, what's the point of gardening? Why do you do this stuff when you can go to the grocery store and just buy this stuff? By the time you figure in everything that you have to buy, like seeds, this equipment, and all the time that you spend doing it, then yeah, the stuff's cheaper. If you don't calculate it, I mean, once you even calculate your time as minimum wage into gardening, it gets real expensive real quick. So yeah, technically it is cheaper, but what's happening right now? All the crazies are going to the store and buying everything up because they're freaking out about the coronavirus. So, and gardening's a hobby. I like to produce food from the land. It's awesome. Okay? And so, really, if you look at it from an economic standpoint, and also it's the same way with chickens, too. If you calculate your time and your feed and everything, it's better just to think of your chickens as a hobby instead of a business, because your time, nobody's time is worth zero. Nobody's time is worth nothing. Anyway, but one way to look at it here is, so these Roma seeds for this 515 milligram packet, look how much that was. It's $2 for the seeds. I'll show you how many comes in this packet here. All 515 milligrams. Get a shot in there. Okay, all those are seeds down at the bottom. I'll put them in my hand. Might be easier to see. That's a lot. That's probably enough to fill all 72 cells in this one container here. So potentially, and all of those won't germinate, and even the ones that do germinate, the plants may not take, or they may not grow. Some may not produce tomatoes. But let's say if we filled this whole cell with this one packet was $2. And this planter was $1. So for a total of $3, I could potentially grow 72 plants. And how much is it to go buy tomato starts at the beginning of the season at D&B Supply or Walmart or somewhere like that?
I don't know.
They're about $3 a piece.
Wow.
So for the same that we would spend to buy one tomato plant, we have the potential of 72. Now we're not going to grow 72, but I always like to plant extra because then I can give some away or sell them, or you know, it gets to that point in the season where eventually people start to panic because it's the coronavirus and they want to go buy all the tomato plants. And so I'll have extra that I can give my neighbors or my friends or whatever. Okay? Okay, now that we have the soil in the containers, I only put a few in my hand here because they're pretty small. You can see that they're really small seeds, and with my chubby fingers they're kind of hard to get. So I just put them in my hand and I kind of scrape them to the side to where I can grab one at a time, and then boink. Try to get it as centered as possible in there. If you don't, no big deal. It's still going to grow. Okay? So I just kind of pull one off to the side at a time. No big deal. One cell, one seed. Easy peasy. Except they're tomatoes and not peas. Okay? See, pretty quick here too. This doesn't take a long time. That's not hard work. Gardening's easy, right? Well, this is the easy and fun part. It gets harder. But it's still rewarding. I don't care what anybody says. This tastes better than store-bought tomatoes. Okay, there's 12 already. Halfway done with what we're doing for this video. And also it helps if you develop a pattern when you're putting these in, because sometimes you can't remember which ones you've done and which ones you haven't. So as you're going through, if you can't see the seeds, and sometimes you can't because they're really small, if you do it the same way every time, then you'll never lose track of where you're at in your cells and where you're planting. Now I will say this, in the past what I've done is in each little cell, I'll put 2 seeds. Okay, so we've done 24 already, and that's how many I still have in my hand. Look at my hand. And that was just a small portion of what was in the packet. We still have that many in the packet, quite a bit. Okay, so that's going to be, that one packet for $2 is more than enough for this. But what I was going to say is, in the past, I've put 2 seeds in per cell, just in case some of them don't germinate, because they're not all going to germinate. The heating mats help in germination, watering, and we give them the best opportunity that we can with the heat, the water, the soil, and sometimes they just don't take. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that one brand is better than the other. Some people like the seed catalogs. I get my seeds at Walmart or D&B. I can't tell you that one's any better than the other. Okay, so now that I have, oh wait, back to the, so if you do 2 seeds per cell, just in case, for germination purposes, what I've done in the past is, as they sprout, within the first week, if both of the seeds do germinate and they come up, then what I'll do is go through with a little pair of scissors, and whichever one is taller, I'll keep that one and I'll cut the other one off right at the dirt, because you don't want to have 2 of these growing in a cell. They're going to grow out of their cell actually pretty quick too, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so we have the half full of soil, and we have a seed in each of these. I'm just going to give each one a little squirt of water. Easy peasy. Okay, and then finish topping these off with some more soil. Super easy. Anybody can grow tomatoes. Now you don't have to go all in on all 72 like this. Say if you only have room for 1 or 2 tomato plants, then give those 1 or 2 plants the best that you can, the absolute best soil. You may have some amendments, some fertilizer, anything, but go all in on those 2 plants, and you're gonna have a good yield of tomatoes. Because if you can give those all your attention, then tomato plants, each tomato plant can produce a lot of tomatoes. Now if you take good care of them, ooh man, you get a lot of tomatoes. Okay, just even it out like that. Make sure you got soil over the top of everybody. Good. See that? And I'm not packing any of the soil here. I'm just moving it around to make sure everything's covered. But you don't want to pack it, right? You want to keep your soil nice and loose for these seeds to grow. Once they grow, their roots will start filling in. And it's pretty cool. Because here's the deal. So give these a little bit more water now that everybody's covered up. And you don't want to soak them. Okay? If you get them too damp, now then you're going to have problems. And probably the biggest problem you'll have is where we're starting indoors like this. He's going to be indoors for several weeks. We're just, what's the date? March 3rd? March 4th? Somewhere around there? Beginning of March? These aren't going to go outside for several weeks yet. And so if you've got them sitting inside here in this container, even once we take the lid off after they come up, if you get them too wet, you can get mold. You're going to have a mold problem. And once you get a mold problem, then it poisons your plants, everything turns to garbage, and you got to go throw everything away, and then you're going to panic and have to go to Lowe's and buy $3 plants, and you're going to have to buy them all because of the coronavirus. But
We're all gonna die.
so that's 24 that are done. We have the potential of 24 plants right here. They're not all going to germinate, I know. But real quick, what was that? Like 5 minutes to do 24 cells? Not even 5 minutes worth of plants. Oh, okay. Well, if I wasn't sitting here talking, it'd be a lot quicker too. Okay. Then take your this is how complicated it gets. You take your lid and it goes on.
Too complicated.
Okay. And then what I do is just kind of center the container up on the heating mat and turn the heating mat on, and it's self-regulating. It'll do everything by itself. And it just keeps it warm. It's just basically a heating pad, but built for starting seeds. And so what will happen here in the next week, probably, maybe week and a half, these seeds will start to sprout. And once your seeds sprout, then you want to take and lift up the cover, and not take it all the way off at first, but then as they start to get bigger, then you can take it all the way off. And so a few other things to mention here. These were starting in our living room, which is just inside this window, which is facing north from our house. And so these aren't going to get direct sunlight. They're going to get some indirect sunlight. And so it's real important that as they start to come up, to lift that cover up and eventually take it off. Now, when you start seeds inside, what do you have to do with them before you can plant them?
You have to take them out of the cells. The dirt.
You have to do what's called harden them off. And that means once these come up and they are big enough to be planted out in the garden, they can't go straight from inside to outside. You have to give them a few days outside, a few days, and put them out progressively longer each time. So if you put them out in the morning, you want to make sure and put them in shade. If you put them in direct sunlight, they just get bombarded with that light, and it's too much for them. Okay, so you got to put them outside for a while in shade, and then increase that time gradually, increase their direct sunlight time, and you'll have healthier, more successful plants. That's one big drawback to starting inside. But the big ups to it is that you save time and money, and you don't have to panic and go to Lowe's because of the coronavirus. So, one other thing, before these are ready to go outside, you will have to transplant them to a bigger container. The ones we use are they're called peat pots, and I think they're about the size of this Dixie cup right here. They're not huge, but you can't leave them in here. The roots of the plants will be too big for these little cells before they're ready to go out. So keep in mind, whatever space that you're going to use as your growing area or your starting area before they go out, that at some point these are all going to have to come out and go into a bigger pot before they're ready to go out. Okay? Cool. I think that's about it. We're going to put me and my little helper here.
Awesome.
We're going to finish filling in these cells with, we're going to finish this one container with Romas, do another container with beef steaks. If you guys have ideas for what to do with tomatoes or different varieties that you like, leave them in the comments. We'll share them around. Everybody share recipes, things to do with tomatoes, because they're good.
Follow whatever your thing on Instagram is.
JP-Farmco.
Okay.
We're on Instagram, YouTube.
YouTube. I don't know.
Like, follow, subscribe, comment, all that. Isn't there a bell button or something?
Oh yeah.
Hit the bell.
If they updated it, so if you click the bell, it'll pop up with a little list. Press all. Thank you. Not custom. Stuff like that.
So, me and my little buddy here, we're trying this year to put together one video per month for JP-Farmco. And they'll all be farming or agriculture or animals, something related to that kind of stuff.
Also, we apologize. Last, when was it? March? Last month, February?
We missed February.
We did not make a video, so probably update you on the plants later this month. Maybe.
Yeah. How about when they sprout? We'll do a follow-up. Sound good?
All right.
All right, thanks guys.
Peace out.